This episode of the Inferno Blazer Sports Show is in dedication to one of our greatest supporters, my mother, Gladys Mercer. Someone who not only loved the show, but was everyone's biggest supporter, no matter good times and bad. And as a son that went through college, I needed all of it. So to you, Miss Mercer, I say thank you. Rest up. You have more than earned it.
We all have Valdosta State ties, which is the reason why we decided to give this podcast a try.
You're tuning into the Inferno Blazer Sports Show.
It was a banger.
I just love their fight. I mean, they never give up.
If you know, you know.
This is title town. We win championships or you get out of town.
Yeah, that's right. RP to Jack. He's not dead, but
No place I'd rather be. Go Blazers.
Got a full house in here, man.
Let me work on my intros real quick. This was a sweep. Let me see if this was a sweep real quick.
So much experience, so much potential, and they show up, they show out.
You can't take the heat. What makes you think you can survive the Inferno?
Welcome in, everyone, to Season 6, Episode 2 of the Inferno, a Valdosta State sports podcast. Jaylan Scott, Austin Sellers, and Dionte Daniel along here with you all. Unfortunately, we do not have Ansley, as she kind of had important stuff to do with the athletic department. You know, she's a GA, so she's got to have important things to do. You got to go to your meetings. Yeah. I'm gonna tease her. I'm gonna tease her about that the next time she comes back on. You just had to go to your meeting. We could have needed you. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, again, Austin, Dionte, Jaylan here with you all for Season 6, Episode 2 of the Inferno Blazers Sports Show, or the Inferno, a Valdosta State sports show, however way you want to go about that. We got a loaded episode because we have a lot that's happened recently. We got rapid fire along with the tennis preview, and we got a couple questions here to answer about men's and women's basketball with the GSC tournament coming into view. It's recorded at the beginning of February. The GSC tournament's at the beginning of March. So we got about a month left of basketball to go, at least for the GSC. And then we're going to cover baseball and softball, their first couple games of their seasons. And we have a good discussion coming up towards the end and relating it to the VSU Hall of Fame. So with that being said, if you want more Valdosta State sports content like this, then be sure to follow for more. But you're tuning in to the Inferno Blazer Sports Show, the Inferno, a Valdosta State sports show. And as always, as we say, if you can't take the heat, what makes you think you can survive the Inferno? So the first thing we're going to go over here, rapid fire headlines. The first thing I want to talk about here, not exactly related to VSU specifically, but kind of just relevant for college sports. Flag football. Women's flag football now officially a sanctioned NCAA sport, a part of their emerging sports program, along with 4 new championships being added. I sent that post to myself. I literally sent that post to myself from the NCAA to see what those were. Let me see if I can actually find it here. That's not the right chat. Here we go. Yes, 4 new NCAA championships, which will include the following sports: acrobatics and tumbling, stunt, bowling, and women's wrestling. Women's wrestling for Division 3, bowling for Division 2, and along again, as I said before, acrobatics and tumbling and stunt as the 4 new NCAA championships. And another thing for flag football as well, University of Nebraska's Matt Rule made the first official Power 4 scholarship offer to McKenna Cook out of California.
That's pretty good
for women's flag football. So just kind of, so honestly, do you guys can you guys see a future where VSU has a women's flag football team one day? I mean, for one, we used to be a women's only college, mind you, all the way back to ye old 1900s. Yeah. But I could honestly see VSU women's flag football in the future. Do you think that's do you think that's a possibility?
I say yes. I'll say in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully, potentially, maybe we can see something like that.
I think so. Cause I know that surrounding high schools are starting to do it. Like where I went to high school, Thomas County, we have a, has one? We have a women's flag football team. And a lot of the other places, I know Lowndes probably has one.
Valdosta definitely has one.
But yeah, it's definitely getting popular. It's cool.
So yeah, for the first Power 4 scholarship offer out to McKenna Cook, congratulations to her. But flag football now starting to make its way into NCAA territory. That's absolutely fantastic here. But bringing things back on down to the local level for the Gulf South Conference, we got a new GSC NIL partnership with the Gulf South Conference and Athletic Solutions, announcing an expanded partnership to empower student athletes through the launch of their official, what they call NIL locker rooms. Now, for one, NIL isn't really new here at the Division II level. I mean, we've seen NIL threads for the athletes, for VSU athletes here, but now the conference itself, they announced a extended partnership with Athletic Solutions officially as of today, actually, as of February 2nd at 1 p.m. I found this out. I want to add it here. So every student athlete at GSC schools who've partnered with Athletic Solutions can opt in to receive their own NIL locker room. And as the official NIL store for GSC student athletes, Athletic Solutions' innovative approach provides fans with direct access to officially licensed merchandise that supports all student athletes. I think this is going to be a really good boom for Valdosta State. I mean, I've seen with the women's basketball team, how many supporters and especially like parents and family members will show up in VSU attire, VSU apparel with their athlete's name and number on the back, especially on Casey Demps. Casey Demps and her family, the way they come out. I think it's probably like her dad comes out in like a custom black and red VSU jersey.
Seen that.
That goes
sick.
hard.
Yeah, that's sick.
That thing actually goes hard. And
I know some of her family members. She has a cousin that stays in Gainesville from where I'm from.
Right.
The last Valdosta women's basketball game I attended, I seen her and her husband and everything because her husband used to be my barber. So
really,
yeah,
really,
so,
that's crazy.
I caught up with them, asked them how they didn't even know I went to Valdosta. I was like, yeah, because her daughter. She goes here. She's a cheerleader here.
Right.
So yeah, I caught up with them and I was speaking to them, like just telling them like, yeah, I've been going here. Yeah. I got another year. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to directly support these athletes even more, I mean, it's now expanded. There's now more direct ways to support our Blazer student athletes, not just our Blazer student athletes, but of all GSC athletes from all 12 institutions. The next thing I want to talk about here, we got a new name of the complex. The complex's lobby has now been dedicated to and named after former VSU athletic director Herb Reinhardt as of this past Saturday, January 31st. The official ceremony preceded the basketball games against West Florida, which we will get to. Those games, we got a lot to talk about that. And what a day. What a pair of days that was, which is going to bring me to the Blazer Hall of Fame inductees, the class of 2026, including David Haruska, Kelly Fields, the current Red Hots coach, getting inducted into the Blazer Hall of Fame, winning 9 national titles. 9 national titles. Again, I need to make a note here. That's 9 out of 19. Even though technically the NCAA, National Cheerleader Association, National Dance Association are not counted as official NCAA titles. It's a national championship. So I'm counting it to the title. We have 19 national titles and 9 of them are from the Red Hots, all under the leadership of Coach Fields. So absolutely deserving there. Bryant Heyman, nicknamed Happy, had a wonderful career here at Valdosta State. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. So rest in peace to you, Mr. Heyman. But congratulations on making your way to the Blazer Hall of Fame. Destiny Berry of volleyball, one of the top blockers in the GSC in her 4 years. Kelly Blisman of softball. We were talking about this before we started. 1.37 ERA in 5 years. Wait a minute. That's all I need to say. Olivia, and then we have Olivia Mills out of soccer, the first women's soccer player to be inducted into the Blazer Hall of Fame. She was a goalkeeper from 2011 to 2015. So when Blazer soccer first started here at Valdosta State, she was the primary backstop, and stonewalled her way into the Blazer Hall of Fame. We also have Bea Morales from women's tennis, part of the women's tennis team from 2014 to 2017, who won the last NCAA tournament game that women's tennis has won.
Wow.
So 2017 was the last time that women's tennis has won an NCAA tournament game, and Morales was on that team.
Wow.
So a massive shout out to Morales. And then, of course, Ryan Schrader out of football, the former Atlanta Falcon, who apparently during his induction speech, I don't know how much I actually want to believe this. Apparently, according to him, between his senior year of high school to getting into college, that man grew a foot. According to him, he grew from 5'10" to 6'10" in the matter of a year. What? I don't know how much I believe that, but now that I've seen him in person, dude is a he is a behemoth. He literally is standing at 6'10". I don't know how much I believe 5'10" to 6'10", but I mean,
it can happen. It can happen. I've seen a lot of people that have grown at least almost a foot, like right there at a foot. Like, it can happen.
I don't know how much I believe that, but for the 1 year Schrader played, or 2 years, I think it was, he was part of that 2012 national championship team that went over Winston-Salem State. So he's been inducted to the Blazer Hall of Fame. So congratulations to all of our Blazer Hall of Fame members of the 2026 class. And stay tuned for later this episode when we discuss more about the Blazer Hall of Fame. The last headline I want to go over here, the second annual Blazer Athletics Day of Giving will be on March 6th of this year, where last year's inaugural event raised over $18,000 going to multiple needs in the athletic department, multiple projects. One of them being that I actually saw very recently, Blazer softball now has an updated scoreboard. Their scoreboard has been updated out at Steele's Diamond at Blazer Park. So when eventually softball returns back to Valdosta to play at home, you'll get to see the new scoreboard. I'd imagine some of those funds were taken from the money raised from the Athletics Day of Giving. So we raised over $18,000 last year. Let's see if we can break that ceiling again this year at the second annual Blazer Athletics Day of Giving. So that being said, now we're going to switch things on over to tennis, give them a quick preview as their season starts literally tomorrow as of the day of this recording against the Middle Georgia State University Knights in their first set of competition as a Division II team. The Blazer tennis season opener on February 3rd, 2026 at 2 p.m. This episode will be out way long by then. But if you want another game of Blazer tennis to look out for, the women's team will face number 2 in the nation, Nova Southeastern, on Friday, February 6th at 2 p.m. And again, the big thing with the men's team is the quest for a three-peat. You ain't lying. The quest for the three-peat begins tomorrow as they enter this season number 2 nationally in the latest ITA Top 25. I can already hear Sawyer losing his mind as I say those words, because defending national champions, not number 1. Come on now. With Barry University actually leads the preseason rankings, while Flagler's at 3rd, followed by West Florida and Lubbock Christian as the top 5 on the men's side. Of course, VSU had their 26-0 record during last season's national title run, culminating in a 4-2 win over Washburn in the national title match. They've won 42 straight matches. Perfect. 42 straight dual matches, dating back to a 4-3 loss to West Florida on March 30th of 2024. So it has been a year and a half since the men's Blazer tennis team have lost a game. Wow. And you tack on 2 national titles along with that. We have several new Blazer tennis players. One of them, I'm not going to mention the new players yet, but returning from last year, Julian Ditto and Jerome Iaconi. Those are 2 pieces that are going to be so critical, especially Ditto being a sophomore and Iaconi being a junior. Dude, if we can keep those 2 for the rest of their Blazer careers, we might have another title on our hands. Honestly, we might have another title on our hands. Ditto is number 24th nationally in the fall ITA rankings, as he's 2-1 this year in singles and 1-1 in doubles. And for the women's side, they have a near completely new team with 6 Division I transfers.
Nice. Wow.
6 Division I transfers. One of the main notable ones, Charlie Fay, a Eastern Illinois transfer, leads the way. Eastern Illinois transfer. A sophomore Louisiana Lafayette transfer, Ivana Castillo Hurtado, joined in as well. An Alabama State junior transfer. I'm probably going to mess his name up. So give me just 1 second. I believe it is Ina Arnautovic, coming out of Alabama State. So 6 D1 transfers for this women's tennis team. I think we can, and I mentioned this earlier about how the last women's tennis win in the NCAA tournament was in 2017. I honestly think we could see them back in the tournament this year.
And I think you said 2017. I think that'll probably change this year.
I think so as well. As I look over the schedule here for the men's team, of course they face Middle Georgia tomorrow. Then they actually don't play again until February 14th against Embry-Riddle, which will be at home, and then they'll head out to Lakeland, Florida to face Florida Southern. Then Coastal Georgia on February 16th and the 28th. Meanwhile, for the women's tennis team, if I pull up their schedule here, but also the men's team, just looking at their schedule, they've got a gauntlet ahead of them. Tons of national contenders on their list. I know John Hansen loves to challenge his teams, and honestly, why wouldn't you? He's been winning at this for so freaking long. So why not keep doing what works? While the women will face off against Middle Georgia and Nova Southeastern on Tuesday and Friday. Then they'll face Embry-Riddle and Florida Southern, Coastal Georgia. Of course, you'll find all the schedules and the updates on the VSU Blazers website. So now we're going to switch things. We're going to switch gears here to the hardwood and the courts for women's basketball. We're going to start off with, and I titled this section very specifically here, and it's posing a question, and it's simply, are the Lady Blazers back on the playoff radar? So the first thing I want to talk about here for the two games against Huntsville and West Alabama since we last had this episode, I'm going to keep this one very brief. Those games were not good.
No, not at all.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Those two games, oh man, did these Lady Blazers need it? Did they need wins at those times? Now, against Huntsville's undefeated. They were undefeated until Lee decided to break that streak. But at the time we faced Alabama Huntsville, they were undefeated. And I'll say this. In that game against Huntsville, VSU did not score their first points until like the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. It was 11-0 at that point. So that could have gone significantly worse. I'll just say that. Against Huntsville, again, top-ranked team in the conference, I can't be too mad at it. Now, what I can be mad about was that game against West Alabama. That game... And I mean this in the most sincere way possible, from the way I understood, from the way I saw the game, and from what I called, that game just felt lifeless. It felt like VSU had no life in that game, and it was rough. It was rough. I remember we talked about before for the men's team at the beginning of their season, or no, we didn't cover this up till this point, but the men's team had an embarrassing loss against Trevecca Nazarene. They lost by 30 at Trevecca. And from there, they also lost to Lee, but what followed afterwards was a hot January. Same thing happened with these Lady Blazers. Same thing would happen with the Lady Blazers, and they lost to Trevecca and Lee. They had a hot January, but now I feel like this West Alabama game is now the equivalent of that men's game against Trevecca, where you got embarrassed. It was rough. And I'll say this. VSU went, I believe it was 0 for 10 from beyond the arc against West Alabama.
Good Lord.
You can't shoot 0 for 10 and really expect to come away with a really competitive game. It felt like West Alabama had their foot on our throats on the Lady Blazers starts the entire time. And unfortunately, as seems to be the theme for this year, another player from another team scores their 1,000th career point against Valdosta State. Haley Nichols of West Alabama scores her 1,000th point against VSU in that game, which followed Lily Wilkin of Alabama Huntsville scoring her 1,000th point against VSU. And before that, Anna Muhonen of Lee University scored her 1,000th point against VSU. What is with it? What is with it this year? I don't understand. So
who knows?
So those two games ended a 5-1 run. Those were brutal. That almost knocked VSU out in the number 8 spot, and they need wins to stay alive. And unfortunately, the road woes still continue.
And I think that's going to be their biggest problem. They can't win on the road.
Yep.
And you remember last time we were here, I talked about it. Coach talked about it. Like they have to be disciplined.
Yep.
They still can't finish. Still can't finish on the road.
You need to be able to.
I mean, VSU, they just haven't proved that they can consistently win away at home. And the GSC, that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. And speaking of playing at home, what everyone seems to be comfortable doing this year, I only have 2 words for that game against West Florida. Absolute cinema. Yep. I posted that in our group chat as well. That game, first of all, I'll give a couple prefixes here. First of all, the post game article posted on the VSU website called that chaotic overtime, which honestly I can say for certain that was chaotic. This was the first overtime game for VSU this season, and this was without Ari. We didn't have Ari Hicks for this game. Now, mind you, we're still down Amaya Broadus. We're still down Kendall Dykstra. Bella Hopkins came back from injury. She played a good deal of minutes against Huntsville and West Owl. But this game, we were down 3 starters. We were down 3 of our primary starters.
Wow.
In Hicks, Broadus, and Dykstra. But even then, VSU found a way. Mm-hmm. They found a way through it. And again, it's like I say, that kind of frustratingly, the best thing about this Lady Blazer team is that they can play through adversity. And by God, they did. 79-76 in overtime. Tying the series with West Florida. That team out west, as I like to call them. So you know what? You can take that to the bank. West Florida, take your L, go back to Pensacola. So, but the thing I really want to focus on in that game, hot start in the first half from VSU. Mm-hmm. They let up that last field goal and make it, 35-21, I believe it was at halftime. And then third quarter syndrome struck again. Third quarter syndrome. Again, I've said it before. I've said it again. I will probably say it for the rest of this year. You cannot let third quarter syndrome that's all I can say to that is that third quarter syndrome happened. Let me just put it this way. VSU outscored West Florida 12-7 in the first quarter, 23-14 in the second quarter. We got outscored 9-19 in the third.
Oh my God.
I believe at one point we only had 4 points up until the 5-minute mark of that third quarter. And then West Florida was on fire that third quarter, 19-9. They outscored us. They outscored us 22-18 in the fourth quarter. In what was I can safely say, one of the most chaotic sequences of the final 2 minutes I've ever seen. And all I'm going to say here, that game should not have gone to overtime. No, that game should not have gone. That game should not have gone to overtime. I don't know if you guys were there to watch that game, but I'm just going to say again, third quarter syndrome. You can't keep letting it happen.
There was a lot of texts being called.
Yes. Oh my God. No, don't get me started on this crew. Actually, do not get me started on this officiating crew. They were god awful. Almost nothing was called consistently. Some of the smallest infractions of contact were called for fouls. And again, texts were just being thrown out like candy. And there are so many things missed. So much missed that were blatantly obvious that I'm sitting there at my camera. I'm leaning back on my seat and I'm like, I can't even be mad at this anymore. Like, this is laughably bad.
I think that's the one thing I've noticed since I've been a student attending VSU. The GSC, the officiating crew, when it comes to basketball and football,
it can be very. I don't know how to properly describe it without actually getting in trouble.
Yep.
Without my employers hearing this and then I get in trouble for it, I don't know how else I can honestly say it. But then, in overtime, 5 more minutes put on the clock. And when VSU needed 3-point shooting, they went to Sharday Rumpf. Man, she was on fire that game. 6 3-pointers made. She hit 6 threes in that game. Career high 20 points for Sharday. Ran Eccleston. And again, we talked about Eccleston before in our last episode. 17 points in this one she had. She has been dominant. And I think it's really proved that in her first year in GSC play, Rayanne can match up against some of the best bigs that have played in this conference for years. Like when she was matched up against Bell, she was matched up against Amelia Bell, who I said this before as well. I I have all my respect to all these players that play, but Bell, you cannot keep getting away with that elbowing.
Yep.
You cannot keep getting away with those shoulder charges, and that elbowing kind of came to a point where everybody collectively was like, thank goodness you fouled out, because you were elbowing so much in that game. It was insane. But good on Eccleston for staying in there and fighting hard in that one. 17 points in that one. Alina Martin had 14 in this one. Aaron Whalen, 13 points. This one, I actually just want to see real quick, Dionte, if you know anything there, I got to see if that was another double for Whalen. I got to see here. It might have been, but I got to see here.
Definitely, I think Aaron Whalen is definitely all GSC first team, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, that's something else I added as well.
She's definitely locked that in.
Yep, another double. 13 points, 10 rebounds.
Wow.
Another one. I think that's either her 9th or 10th. I think
Sade, she really saved the season for the VSU women's team. And I hope that can be, that win against West Florida can definitely be the spark going into, the last half of the regular season, going into, GSC tournament play.
Yep.
It's just, with VSU, man, they're kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get from the VSU women's team.
No, sometimes you really aren't. And that's really one of the most frustrating parts as well, because we've seen the heights of the games against Fort Lauderdale, against Montevallo, against West Florida. Against West Florida recently. I would honestly even the highs of the game against Union. But then you have some of these lows.
Like West Alabama.
Against West Huntsville.
Alabama Huntsville.
So it's almost like a coin flip.
It's hard to predict them because you don't know which version is really going to show up, honestly.
But honestly, you could really say that about any game in the GSC, especially with Lee being the first team to knock down Alabama Huntsville so that the Chargers are no longer undefeated in conference play. Lee was the first team to break that streak. So one of the things I want to talk about here, we got a month left until the GSC tournament starts. With that win against West Florida, looking at the standings, VSU jumps from 8th to 7th by beating the Argonauts. Now, Mississippi College stays in 8th place after beating Auburn Montgomery, with West Alabama trailing behind them in the 9th spot. So after losing to Lee most recently. So the question here is VSU in any real danger of missing the GSC tournament, or is that a bit overreactionary? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Honestly, I'm gonna say yes and no. No, because they're still right in the mix of everything. Yes, because there's zero margin for error, and one bad road trip, and everything flips. So they're not safe, but they're still alive. Like, they can still make something shake with the last month of the season. So
I agree with that. I think it's too early to count somebody out. Yep. You just got to stay on top of it, to be honest.
Yeah, still have a whole another month to go. Actually, as I'm looking at the standings here, UAH leads away 14-1. Then there's Lee at 11-4. So it was a pretty sizable gap there between first and second. Then Trevecca falls at 10-5. Then Union at 8-4. Delta State at 9-5. West Florida at 8-6. These are all conference records, by the way. And then tied in conference wins, Valdosta State, Mississippi College, West Alabama, each with 7 wins. And then we have the bottom 3 teams, Montevallo, AUM, and Christian Brothers. RIP to y'all seasons. That's over. That's over. Each of them have 2 or fewer conference wins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're out. So we know who the bunch that are going to make the GC tournament are. So 1 through 7 is not really the concern. It's who's going to get that 8th spot. Yep. And it's going to be a battle between West Florida, Valdosta State, Mississippi College, and West Alabama. And again, if you're the 9th spot, you're out. You're not playing no more. So that's going to, so these next couple games that are coming up against Lee and Trevecca at home. Yep. And then we have the road series against Mississippi College and Delta State. Follow that up with one more road series against Montevallo and Auburn Montgomery. Currently, VSU is 5-3 against these teams, with all them getting wins except versus Christian Brothers, which were at home, and then all three of those losses in that 5-3 span were on the road against Lee, Trevecca, and Union. There's also one more home series against Christian Brothers and Union. I forgot about that one as well. Which, by the way, I also want to add just a little bit of a funny note here. I don't know if you guys saw Fire Pit. I don't know if you guys saw the Fire Pit Instagram account. but the theme that they're going with for, I believe it's Thursday's game against Lee, is Sunday's best.
Wow.
Is Sunday's best. Now, mind you, Lee's a Christian school. Lee's a Christian school. So to do Sunday's best as the theme for Fire Pit for that game, I just gotta say, whoever came up with the idea, you're based. You're based as hell. You're actually based as hell for that. That is fun. That is funny. That is hilarious. I love that idea. Y'all need more. You guys need more ideas that relate to the teams. That relate like directly to the teams. I think to really just drive. I think really just to drive things home to really get under the other team's skin, because we have a really good student section.
Yeah. We do.
We have a really great student section here, but themes like that really take like the history or take like something like a common fact about the school you're facing and using that to get under their skin. I love those.
Whoever created that idea, they need to get paid.
I think so too, honestly.
They need to get paid for it.
And those two games as well. Against Lee will be a couple special promotions as well. Against Lee will be Girls and Women's and Sports Day. And the game against Trevecca will be in collaboration and partnership with SGMC and Youth Day against Trevecca. So those games will be on Thursday and Saturday. I cannot remember those dates off the top of my head. The 5th and 7th. League game will already be passed. Trevecca on Saturday. So the main thing, if you're listening to this episode now and you want an excuse to go to a Lady Blazer basketball game where every game counts right now, come out to this game against Trevecca.
Yes.
We need Blazer Nation there to be loud, to be proud, and to shove these Trojans back to Nashville and to usher these Trojans back to Nashville with a win. We would love to see that. And one more thing, Dionte, I know you mentioned this earlier. Aaron Whalen, I think absolutely a front runner for all GSC. First team. I'm gonna say first team all GSC. If she's not, I'm gonna take this up at the conference. I swear.
She's definitely the offensive engine for this VSU women's basketball team. I mean, the consistent presence and like no matter the outcome, she's showing up.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bad shooting night, you'll see her up in a box score sheet. Still a double-double, regardless of how bad she shot. She's still getting a double-double.
She's a consistent producer, and and one of the best things about her, again, that Ansley said last episode, she's always coming back on defense.
Yep.
So now with that being said, we're going to transition things from women's basketball to the men's team, in which the question I pose for this one again is the men's basketball team a true lock for the GSC tournament, or is there still some wiggle room there that VSU could slide off? Now, the thing is, with this men's basketball team and just men's basketball in the GSC, Dionte, I know you and I have talked about this a lot, dating back to the end of season 5, even to now. No team in this conference is safe. No one is safe. Let me just put it this way. West Alabama took their first two conference losses to West Florida, I believe it was 78-75, and then they got beat by double digits to Lee. Damn! This team's nationally ranked, by the way.
He ain't lying.
Goodness.
This West Alabama team is nationally ranked, and now they're only 2 games ahead of West Florida, who's 11-4. You have West Florida, who's 10-4, Huntsville at 9-6, Trevecca at 8-6, and then there's Valdosta State at 7-7. So while both teams are kind of in that middling stage, in that middle part of the standings, this is also when desperation needs to be at its highest. Because who's right on our tail? The same team who beat West Alabama, Lee. They're 7-8. Then Mississippi College at 6-8. Then Delta State at 5-9. And then there's Union at 4-8. Followed by Christian Brothers and AUM. Also RIP to y'all seasons. 2-10 for 2-12. Actually, no, 2-10 for Christian Brothers. 2-12 for AUM. Yeah, so RIP y'all seasons. But again, just looking at this section here, Trevecca, VSU, Lee, Mississippi College, Delta State, Union are all a game back from each other.
We're 7th in the GSC standings, correct?
Yes, actually 6th. After being West Florida, we jumped to 6th. But again, Lee and Mississippi College are on our tail. Lee's got 7 wins, Mississippi College has 6, and Delta State has 5. So any major slip up, any major skid here could punch this team out of the GSC tournament, which is something I never considered at the beginning of the year. But now, it's a very real possibility. It's a very real possibility, especially those games against Huntsville and West Isle. Again, copy and paste everything I said from the women's section into here, but actually I'll make an exception here because those two games are actually the best defensive performances I've seen out of Valdosta State in a while. They held one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country in Huntsville to like 5-26. And then West Alabama, we went into that game with a lead, or in halftime with the lead against West Al. Then unfortunately came out of that one with a loss, but still a physically grueling game against West Alabama. But again, the biggest problem that I have is that we upticked our defense, but our offense just couldn't match. I honestly don't know what's up with that. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, and that obviously changed tune against West Florida, but against West Isle and Huntsville, our defense stepped up, but they just couldn't convert offensively. And that was the most frustrating part of those two games.
The Huntsville game really stung a lot because, we were on
a 5-game win streak?
5-game win streak. And it definitely hurt because of really how it happened. Like, we couldn't generate consistent offense, especially late. And Alabama Huntsville was able to control the tempo.
They were able to. And again, this is a Huntsville team that is without all of their All-Americans from last year, all their top guys from last year. Not that really makes like a huge difference because, Huntsville's still good despite them. And you'll have changes in roster, but this isn't Tommy Murr. This isn't Luke Burnett. This isn't Blake Campbell. This isn't Daniel Saylor we're going up against. This is an almost entirely new Chargers team. Quentin Tolles leading the charge. Quentin Tolles, Matt Thurman leading the charge for them, which also Matt Thurman could really be like a. I could really see him playing like a small forward in the professional level. Dude's a big who can shoot. But enough on that. What are you gonna say?
So Jaylan, I'm gonna ask you this.
Right.
So since Valdosta State is the number one scoring offense in the GSC,
right?
Why do you think now they're starting to shift more into a more defensive first type of team instead of offense?
Well, for one, this goes back to something that I mentioned during a couple of my broadcasts, and it's simply the matter of VSU. At one point, we were top 10 in all of Division II in offense, but we were also bottom 10 in the not bottom 10 in the GSC. No, we were dead last in the GSC. We were bottom 10 in all Division II in defense and points allowed per game. Actually, at one point, we were literally the last team in total points given up. In total points allowed, Valdosta State was dead last. And that's like 267th out of all the recorded teams. So, of course, we were averaging 95, 96 points per game, top 10 in the country, top 5 in the country, actually. But you cannot give up as many points. You can't give up that much, and still really like expect your scoring to stay that consistent to where you can constantly outscore and pretty much outshoot your opponent. Because other teams, they'll match our style, they'll match our pace, and they're finding soft spots on the defense constantly. So now I actually really like this more defensive focus because now I think it's starting to shift the tone. I think it's starting to shift the tone and shift the narrative that VSU is not just an offensive only team. They can play defense too. Now, how well they play that defense, you'll find out on any given night. But in most recently, they've played some solid defense. So now any team that comes over to face VSU can look at VSU and go, okay, they're one of the best scoring teams. They have a lot of great scores, but they'll also make your life miserable. They can make your life miserable on defense if they play up to that level. Now, partly why I think the offense has fallen off is fatigue.
Yep.
It can be fatigue. VSU's playing harder on defense, but that being said, when you gotta go back down, the other side of the court. Your arms getting tired, your knees, your thighs, and your muscles start getting tired. So you're not able to get your proper shots up. Your arms are sore, so you don't get enough power.
Yep.
And also the mental aspect as well. You might not be as sharp. You might not be as sharp on offense. and coming back down the court, because also VSU plays a man offense or a man defense. We don't play zone. VSU doesn't play zone. They play man on man. So there's a lot of defensive responsibility that these guys are having to think of constantly as they're moving around, as they're switching off men, as they're finding their matchups. They don't dump their Coach Helfer and the staff don't dumb down the defense. They want the other team. They want the other team to have to adjust to them, to adjust to VSU, to not just play a basic zone, which has been effective against VSU, granted, but again, VSU wants to make their opponents think. VSU wants to make their opponents think and find their shots, not just move the ball around and then just have something easy. So that's why the man defense has been effective. Yeah. But again, when fatigue starts setting in, you coming back down the court, and you start losing your sharpness a bit. Yeah.
Sometimes a zone switch could be pretty detrimental to your stamina of your team. You don't want to be you don't want to keep them tired because you're not sharp, like you just said. You don't want to be fatigued, because once you're fatigued, you're gonna slack off. You're gonna not pick up reads like you're supposed to. You're not gonna get But at the same time, like you said, they want their players to think. They want their team their offenses to try to think, to work for your shots. Make it hard for them to get the ball in the basket.
Absolutely. And with that being said as well, I'm actually gonna move this topic up. Drew, we got to talk about Drew.
Yes.
36 against West Florida. I'm gonna say this now. If he is not GSC Player of the Week this week, which comes out tomorrow, if he's not GSC Player when I find this out tomorrow, I might actually have a conniption. I might have a conniption for him. Yeah. Honestly, because I don't understand how you don't see 36 points, a career high, by the way, for Drew, and not see that as one of the best performances that we've seen in this conference for a while. I mean, of course, we had Jaylan Kurt, or no, it was Moore. It was Derek Moore. Yeah, of course, we had Derek Moore with this 55 piece against West Florida. Okay, cool, whatever. That was kind of obvious. But come on now. Yeah. Come on now. 36. And this is Mills' third 30-plus point game in his last 5. And he's coming off a broken nose. And he was coming off a broken nose doing it. He had the face mask on against West Florida. He broke his nose against Huntsville. So he is doing this coming off a broken nose as well. Like, come on now. Come on. Is there anything else I need to say about Drew? Really? Dude's a monster. Dude's actually a monster.
Definitely. We talked about this with Aaron Whalen. Potentially all GSC first team considerations, maybe. I definitely think he deserves it. He's definitely being, the leader for this VSU men's basketball team.
And that's another thing I also want to talk about here too. As I've seen this team grow and develop over time, going all the way back to December, going back to our trips to December to now, I'm starting to see much better connections between the players, especially off court when we're traveling along, when we're going out to lunch, teams going out to dinner, going to practice and to shoot around. I mean everyone feels more connected, more hype. They're hyping each other up during practice. They're having fun. They're having fun during practice, and then how that translates on the court translates to finding each other on the court better. And Drew's really stepped up to essentially kind of be that coach on the floor. Yeah, to kind of be the mouthpiece for Coach Helfer. Kind of be another mouthpiece for Coach Helfer. From the sideline, and Drew's echoing that out to his team, and he's leading them. He's being a huge leader for them, even off the court as well. He'll be yelling and saying things from the bench, as well, helping guys out defensively. So that's just another thing I noticed as well. Qualitatively, is the leadership has gotten so much better with this VSU team. They're all really buying in to they're really buying into this process of how tough of a gauntlet of a season they've gone through and how much is going to come up in the future.
There's definitely an elephant in the room, and we got the same problem with the women's basketball team.
And that would be
they both can't win on the road.
Nope, unfortunately so.
And with the men, like, you can defend all you want, but if you can't score late in hostile environments, then you're always going to be vulnerable.
Yep.
And, you know, the losses like Alabama, Huntsville, like they hit harder than they should. And really, the question isn't whether VSU can defend. Of course, they can.
Yep.
But the question is whether they can score just enough to make that defense matter.
Yep. And against West Florida, I think that definitely, I think that question is definitely answered there. I mean, as far as I remember, VSU went to that game. I don't remember if we actually went into halftime with the lead or not. But coming out that second half, dude, this team was sluggish.
Yes, they were.
That second half from VSU was sluggish, but they fought their way through it.
Yep,
they fought their way through it.
And I know we talked about this earlier in some earlier previous games. You guys, I think, hit a little slump in the mid, like when it would be halftime in some games. Do you think that anything has really driven these guys to really put their full heart on the line for the full game?
Well, I wouldn't say they don't put their full heart. That's not the way to say it. Like, we just make some mental mistakes that, you know, everybody makes. We just make them a little bit at the wrong time. So we play as hard as any team I've ever coached. Like, and I love my team, so it's not a hard issue. It's more of a kind of an execution issue and maybe a mental mistake here or there.
They did everything they needed to do. They were clicking. VSU was clicking, and again, 103-100 in overtime against West Florida. Now actually against West Florida, we actually went to halftime down 41-39. Then we outscored West Florida 50-48 to force overtime, in that game, dude, MJ Jones, Malik Leach, Ethan Pyers. I gotta give my credit, Ethan Pyers, for coming up with the defense. Ethan Pyers with the defense to get the ball turned over off a heavily contested layup, going back down the court. And when they got that ball to MJ, and he put it up to tie the game, dude, the entire complex exploded. And Coach Helfer even said after the game,
It was, and you said that you guys got better as the game went on, and I saw that as well. What also does that say about this motivation that this crowd had this weekend on your guys?
Yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody that was here. Students were here, band, pep, cheer, and dance. Everybody that was here, like, just made it a hard environment for them as we got going a little bit. And like I just said on the radio, when MJ made that three, that was a pretty loud noise in here. Yeah. So that was good, and just thankful.
And like you said, with MJ and Malik Leach making those clutch up shots, what do you have to say about those guys?
I mean, they're seniors. Like, they've been in a lot of basketball games in college, and it didn't surprise me on either one of them. I actually thought Ethan Pyers would make that one in the corner, but Ethan Pyers, like, I put him with 7 minutes to go, man, he solidified us and played the whole overtime. Just proud of that kid. But Malik and MJ are seniors, and they're going to make plays.
And Ethan had that block down there, right?
He did.
So, and I know you relied on him a lot towards the beginning of the season. How proud are you of him for you to throw him in and make an impact?
Sometimes it's hard because we have a lot of guys that can play, and Ethan hasn't had a chance recently, but he never hung his head. He never pouted, nothing. Like, he was always... Just so everybody knows, that was a basketball. My kids just threw the basketball over here. Never hung his head. Just always. He's a great kid. And you just never know. Like, this is the way athletics work, sports work. You get your chance. You go in there. Didn't even score, but helped us win.
State the energy in that environment, the energy in the complex, reminded him a lot of 2017 when Bo Justice hit the double clutch 3-pointer against, I think it was North Alabama here, and how the complex just erupted. Now, mind you, the complex doesn't. We don't. I mean, and this is not trying to be a knock. I'm just saying what I'm just saying exactly what I see here. The listed attendance for that West Florida game was 1,086. The complex holds about 2,000 people. The complex holds about 2,000 people, give or take. So you can do the math there, but I tell you, those near 1,100 people sounded like 5,000, sound like 10,000 people when those 3-pointers went in to tie the game that sent us to overtime. Dude, the complex can get rocking, and especially against a rival in West Florida, 103-100 in overtime. Again, it's like I said. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. And something I love to see with Lee and Trevecca coming up on the schedule on February 5th and February 7th. Again, the game against Lee, it's Girls and Women's and Sports Day. Against Trevecca, that is Youth Day, the Kitty Clinic. So for the Red Hots and cheerleaders, we got the Kitty Clinic that day, and also SGMC Day as well for Trevecca. You got anything else?
Before we do end here, just to piggyback about the GSC standings. So since VSU is now in 6th place after that win,
right?
We're going into the last month of the regular season, going into, the GSC tournament.
Right.
I feel like, the best case scenario for the men's basketball team, I feel like, our ceiling is, staying in 6.
I honestly think it could be higher.
That too.
Think it could be higher. We could potentially crack the 4 spot.
But that, that is asking for help.
That is asking for a bit of help against Huntsville and Trevecca, and I don't think they'd be willing to.
The problem about them, you don't want to live in that that eighth and ninth danger zone where
you're one bad missing it.
One bad weekend just knocks you completely out.
Yep.
So it's really like the women's basketball team. We got a lot of road trips coming up. You have to win on the road
against Delta and Mississippi College. And those games, those teams always give us a fight.
Yep.
Especially when we're on the road.
We have to win on the road. Both teams are under 500 on the road. I think the men's is 3-6. Men's is 3-6. Women's, I need to go back and check.
They only have 1 win.
Yep.
You don't need to do much there. They only have 1 win.
Wow. 1-7 on the road for the women's.
Yep.
Like I said, the last month of this regular season, we have to get some wins on these road trips.
Yep.
I have faith on y'all at home. I know what y'all can do at home, but on the road we have to step it up.
We got to prove it. Which it still makes me mad that I've only called 1 road win this season. Actually, no, wait. I've called 3 road wins this season. I've called 3. Women's basketball against Christian Brothers, men's basketball against Christian Brothers, and then men against Union. I've only called 3 wins this year. I need more. I need more wins. Come on now. So with that being said, just a quick reminder: you're tuning into the Valdosta State Sports Podcast by the students about the Blazers for Blazer Nation. That being said, we'll be back in just a moment.
Disclaimer, the following spot is not sponsored, endorsed, or compensated by the VSU Athletics Department or its financial supporters. This is simply a promotion of a service related to the department and its teams.
If you can't catch a Valdosta State basketball game at the complex this season, beat the fast break by streaming on the go with Flow College and Spencer Van Horn.
Blazers back out in front!
Or tune in to Slam Dunk radio coverage with Mike Chasen.
Valdosta State wins the basketball game.
Tune in anytime, anywhere for every Blazer basketball moment on your mobile devices and on the radio. Flow College, Talk 92.1, and Fox Sports Valdosta are the homes of Blazer basketball all season long. Get schedules and streaming info on the new VSU Blazers mobile app, available on iOS and Android. And welcome back, everyone, to the Inferno, a Valdosta State sports podcast. Jaylan, Austin, and Dionte here with you all for Season 6, Episode 2. We just finished up with women's and men's basketball, also with tennis and the rapid-fire headlines. And again, as I said before, Ansley couldn't be here because she's got important stuff to do. Bruh. You just had to go to your meeting. I'm kidding. I'm still joking. Maybe. No, I'm not. Ansley, why aren't you here? No. Okay, I'm messing you.
We do miss you.
We're going crazy. The fellows are going insane. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to turn things on over to Austin here, our main baseball and softball expert here, to recap us a couple games about the start of the baseball season. We're actually going to start with baseball here, and their little Sunshine State tour, as I called it in the last episode, as they've spent literally the last week just touring Florida, I guess. They went to Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach, then Miami Shores. Now they're playing in Lakeland tomorrow against Florida Southern. So what do we know? So what do we know about the first couple games of Blazer baseball?
All right, so we finished the first 3 games. Like you said, we still have yet to play the 4th one in Lakeland. But the first one ended out, unfortunately, we lost a close game to Nova Southeastern. But some good points to kind of grab from that game. We lost 5-4. It's good points to grab from the game. Garrett Moody was his first start this season, obviously. First start this season. 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 1 ball. Listen to me. I'm reading BBs. 1 ball, and 10 strikeouts.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and only 4 hits given up. So, I mean, solid outing. Honestly, VSU out-hit Nova Southeastern 11-6. But base running ultimately ended up being
that was the deciding factor. I'm reading the box score here. VSU scoreless through the first 4. Put 4 innings on top of the 5th. Nova Southeastern scored their first 4 innings in the first 2 innings. Then we held them scoreless till the 8th until they got the walk-off whatever.
They had So I think what set it up was we gave up a hit. Infield error set up the wild pitch who brought the walk-off run in. It's all right, though. Like I said, that it happens. It's beginning of the season. Got to work out some kinks. We'll get it figured out. No problemo. The next game versus Palm Beach Atlantic.
Fireworks show.
Yeah. VSU 15, Palm Beach Atlantic 12 was the final score. An absolute shootout. So Drake LaRoche. Sorry.
We literally discussed this before the show started.
I know, that's my bad. Sorry, Drake.
You honestly, your fumble there was not as bad as some previous fumbles we've had on the show. I've actually called Mr. Reinhardt. It's just Herb, right? It's just Herb Reinhardt. You actually pronounce the H. You actually pronounce the H. I left the H silent for a while until Jack had to correct me and be like, "It's like you're saying it wrong. It's like you're saying it wrong. You're saying herb like the spice." I'm like, oh my god, I feel terrible about that. But also, we gotta talk about the Mississippi State Choctaws.
Oh god, no.
Yeah, you guys know a thing or two about the Mississippi State Choctaws?
Never heard of them.
Yeah, I don't. The only Choctaws I know are called Mississippi College.
Yep.
Anyways, back to what you were saying.
So in this game, the Blazers ended up reaching the bases on 12 hits, which is very impressive to me.
Right.
And went 11 more times courtesy of walks.
Wait. So you say 11 walks?
11 walks and 12 hits.
Right.
So.
Jeez.
And also for Palm Beach Atlantic, they pitched a lefty named Nolan Smoot, who ended up having to be pulled because he gave up 5 runs in just 3 innings.
Oof.
Also, VSU tore through 3 more relief pitchers, forcing their entire pitching staff to pitch 192 pitches.
So we kind of had like a big bullpen game.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, honestly, I'd say just crank the bats. We just cranked the bats.
Yeah, I was actually going to say it's not really so much a bullpen game because how many innings did LaRoche go?
LaRoche went 5 innings.
LaRoche
5 innings
5,
and was I had it written down somewhere. I can't remember where who he was relieved by.
Yeah. So we have 5. So we had LaRoche do the first 5 innings, and then I can actually pull it up here. Yeah, we had LaRoche do the first 5 innings. Then Jacob Page did 2. Hunter Ward did 2/3, and then Jackson Ugla did 1.1.
So I guess you could say it obviously we let them score 12, so it was definitely a bullpen game for us and for them as well. But also both teams cranked the bats. I unfortunately didn't get to go to the game, but from what it looks like,
it's all down
looking at the box score, definitely like you said a couple segments ago, absolute cinema, I'm sure.
Yeah, again, 15-12.
I got a few more stats to spit out at you guys, just kind of impressive. So these are all VSU players who this is in one game. Right. So junior Matt Keller had 3 singles and a walk. Junior Isaiah Poe had a homer, a double, and 2 RBIs.
Homer, double, and 2 RBIs.
Charlie Banks, who had a huge weekend, and I'll get to that in a second.
Right.
Charlie Banks had a home run, listen to me, single, and 1 walk. Brent Howard had 2 RBIs, 2 doubles, and 3 walks. Mm-hmm. Junior Jason Mack had 2 RBIs and a double. Yep. And then Easton Hood had RBIs, a triple, and a walk. So these are just that's 5 or 6 players that had a huge game.
The bats are being disciplined. That's what I like to see.
Yeah. Disciplined bats is definitely something we saw a lot of last year. Last year's team was incredibly disciplined at the plate. They weren't swinging. They weren't swinging wildly, but they swung to make contact.
Swung at the right pitches.
They swung at the right. They swung at the right pitches. All made good clean contact. I mean, do I even need to talk talk about Pedro Moreno legging out infield singles.
Yep.
Pedro Moreno legging out infield singles. DJ Banks hitting for power. His slugging. Orlando Pena. Need I say more?
Yeah.
Hunter Stowe. Need I say more? Easton Hood. Need I say more? Which, by the way, Easton Hood
is back.
He's back. He's on the GSC returning players to watch list this year, along with LaRoche and Marco Sevillano.
Yep. And Trey Jackson.
Yep.
Oh, is Jackson on there as well?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see. Oh, I didn't. He's not. Well, I kind of hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he's not on the list.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Jackson's not on the returning players to watch list. I feel like he should be.
I tried, Trey. I tried.
I feel like he should be. So you know what? We'll say he's there. We'll say he's there in spirit. He's there in spirit. I really feel like he should have been on that list as well, to be honest. So they had one more game. So they had one more game after that game against Palm Beach Atlantic. Unfortunately, it fell to Barry 4-16.
Yeah,
so that's
16-4. 16-4. Man. I don't know. I'm not too sure what happened there.
I have the box score here. Yeah, I found it. 9 runs in the third. 9 runs given up in the third.
Oof. Wow.
Now, however, I will say this as I actually look down here to Barry. They had 2 home runs. This is actually kind of rough. They had 2 home runs and 1 double out of 14 total hits, 4 stolen bases. So they were running amok. So Barry was running amok against us, and this one was definitely a bullpen game. What are you going to say?
Listen to this. I'm reading this right now. It says the Blazers totaled 9 hits, but left 13 runners on base and went 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. So out of 15 players in scoring position, we only scored 2.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Shout out Major League Baseball, because I'm a big Atlanta Braves fan, and that's definitely the same problem that Atlanta Braves have. They always leave runners in scoring position.
Can't do that
every time.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It's been like that for years, and they've never fixed that problem.
So Ty Massera be the one to take the loss there. He had two innings, only gave up 1 hit, but 2 earned runs, 5 walks, a strikeout in 12 batters faced. Now we said the last one was a bullpen game. That was a bit of a misspeak. This one was definitely a bullpen game. As Massera had 2 innings, Trey Jackson pitched 2/3, Ty Floyd pitched 1 1/3, Preston Weatherall pitched 1 inning, Vinny Del Negro pitched 1 inning, Boomer Dunn pitched an inning, and then Preston James closed it out with 1 inning of his own. Every pitcher except Del Negro had a hit. Had a hit against him. Del Negro is the only one who recorded a full inning without a hit. And that's in that one. So definitely a rough one there. But also to be entirely honest, last year as well, VSU didn't fare too well against the Sunshine State teams last year.
Really?
But we saw where that ended up. They didn't fare too well against the Sunshine State teams. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking here from last year, that first couple series at the beginning of the year, VSU went 1-6 to start their season last year. It was they dropped series 1-2 against Rollins, and then got swept by Embry Riddle. And then we lost a 17-14 game against Georgia Southwestern. So VSU baseball started 1-6 last year. A lot of our losses were against Sunshine State Conference teams.
Florida
so Rollins, Embry Riddle, we lost in a single game against St. Leo. As I scroll on further here, lost 14-3 against Tampa, who are now the reigning national champions.
Yeah, that
they lost to Tampa last year.
Florida's huge for baseball,
and they lost to St. They actually lost St. Leo twice last year. So against Sunshine State Conference teams have been VSU's kryptonite from last year to this year. So honestly, as bad as these losses are, if recent memory has taught me anything, I'm not panicking.
Yeah,
I'm not panicking too much.
You can't. It's only JD's 3rd game. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, JD Holt's 3rd game overall. In his first season as full-time head coach or manager. I know Kyle, if he's tuning in, he's probably going to be mad at me that I say head coach instead of manager. He's old school like that, but he's also like 85. Kyle's also like 85, so he is that old school.
Heard. I wanted to see tell y'all what Mr. Charlie Banks was up to this weekend. Right. Dude had a monster hitting performance. So
is he hitting 533 right now? I mean, again, it is through 3 games, but I mean, 533 is 533.
To start off the season hot like that, like I said, you can't beat that. You really can't beat that.
No, you really can't.
So this weekend, Banks recorded 8 hits, 5 RBIs, and a home run.
Oh, nice.
And with 2 3-hit performances.
Nice.
So, buddies.
All right, Charlie. We see what you're working with. Again, hitting 533. Again, it's only through 3 games, so small sample size, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, 533 is still 533. You can't really argue with that.
But yeah.
So baseball coming up. They've got a 3-game series against Florida Tech. 1 game each for some reason on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all at Billy Grant Field at Tommy Thomas Park. Billy Grant Field is always it has always been a great ballpark. It's a really good place to watch, really good place to watch games. And it'll definitely be great to hear the new batch of nicknames that primary commentator Bill Malone will come up with this year. And I remind you, some of the nicknames last year were really freaking good. Like Orlando, the Magic, Pena, Hunter, the Hardware Stowe, DJ, Take It to the Banks, Pedro, the Toy Cannon, Moreno.
That's
he had some goated nicknames.
That's awesome.
Bill always has some goated nicknames. I can't wait to hear what he comes up with for this year. And then their first conference series will be against Union. And actually, I mentioned those games against Florida Tech. This begins a stretch of 7 straight home games.
Wow.
For VSU, again against Florida Tech on the February 5th, 6th, and 7th. Then next week against Union, 13th, and a doubleheader on 14th against Union, and a single game against Georgia Southwestern on February 17th. And then they'll go on the road, and face Trevecca. But you got 7 games coming up. If you want to watch some Blazer baseball, now's the time to do it. You'll definitely see us. You'll definitely see us out there.
Home cooking matters when it comes to baseball.
The basketball teams know a thing or two about that.
I mean, under a new manager, head coach, whatever you want to call it, if you want to build confidence, chemistry and momentum under that new head coach,
win at home.
Yeah, win at home.
Got to. You absolutely have to.
Home run.
So we're gonna stop that stretch there for baseball and switch things on over to softball, which for one thing that we mentioned at the top of this episode again, and it's something we discussed prior. Something discussed prior to starting the show is the matter of softball is an entirely different beast from baseball. Some things have been cross compared. Like there are some things that translate from the two sports in terms of the numbers and the statistics and all that. But with softball, I've always considered it a entirely different beast than baseball. And especially, for this softball team, for this VSU softball team starting in the Gulf Shores Invitational, they had a couple. I mean, they also had a bit of a rough start to their season. Same with, the baseball team as well. Baseball started 1-2. Softball didn't have such the greatest time in Gulf Shores, which I imagine is actually really, really a beautiful place there in Gulf Shores. They're playing along the beach in Alabama, awesome. But softball started the season so far 1-3 after the Gulf Shores Invitational. Their only win against Middle Georgia 8-7 as they get ready to start a 2-game series against North Georgia. What do we know about softball in their first couple games at the Gulf Shores Invitational?
So the first game starts, we have against Spring Hill College. So notes I have here, it says, so Spring Hill College started strong in the first inning, scoring 2 runs on 3 hits, including a 2-run homer from Meredith Fontenot. Also, Spring Hill pitcher Bethany Aarons retired 8 of the first 9 batters she faced.
Oof.
So yeah, it started out strong. They were kicking her tail, but Alyssa Valad for VSU delivers a 4 strong innings of relief after he was a starter here
against Spring College, or Spring Hill of Madison Van Allen.
Yes,
with the loss in this one.
Right. Yep. In the 5th inning, Blazers evened it out to 2-2 after capitalizing off a miscue from Spring Hill, but the Badgers ended up taking the winning run on a fielder's choice in the 6th inning.
On a fielder's choice?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. One thing I want to note here is how many players they've used. Oh, VSU only left 6 batters on base. I remember one of those was bases loaded.
Yep.
One of those situations where bases loaded. So that was definitely rough. But again for VSU, it was actually I don't know what on earth happened with the stats here. It says Savannah Barfield pitched 1 inning and then Alyssa Valad pitched 4, but she has no numbers on her pitching.
Yeah.
And then Van Allen is one.
I've got 4 innings. Yeah. I've got 2 strikeouts for Melissa, but other than that, it's 4 inning pitched and 2 strikeouts.
Yo, statisticians, what are we doing? Statisticians, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I know that the difference maker for sure was Bethany Aarons for Spring Hill. She pitched 7 consecutive innings, a complete game, only allowed 1 run, or 2 runs, sorry. 6 walks, 3 strikeouts, which
6 walks and 3 strikeouts,
and you still come away with a win.
You still come away with a win. Again, this is why I say softball is way different animal than baseball.
Yeah, because you'd be looking at that scratching your head as a baseball player.
But as a softball player, you kind of look at that and go, well, yeah, that kind of looks about right.
Yeah.
sometimes it just be like that. It really do just be like that. And against Rogers State, coming out number 18 in the nation, Rogers State. Unfortunately, VSU would fall 6-2 in that one. 12 hits given up by VSU in that one. But also at the same time, as I said before about these like top ranked teams, I mean, they're top ranked for a reason.
Yep, top ranked for a reason.
They're top ranked for a reason. But on one hand, we did shut them out for the last 5 innings. We did shut them out the last 5 innings. So Rogers State piled on the runs, first and second inning. They scored 6 in the first 2. And then we shut them down the last 5.
Thanks to Giselle Portanova for VSU. She ended up doing 5.1 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. But she stabilized the game, stopping them from kind of putting more.
Yeah, she pitched 5 1/3 scoreless innings. That one, unfortunately, Tori Wofford would be saddled with the L. She gave up all 6 runs in those first 1 2/3 inning. So. Then we move on to Northeastern State, lost 7-3. But then that game against Middle Georgia, and we end off the Gulf Shores Invitational on a good note.
Yep.
We finished that one 8-7. I believe it says here we played the bottom of the 7th, so we got to walk off there somewhere. Van Allen is the one who comes up with the W in that one.
Absolutely.
So what do we? So I'm gonna pull up the box score here. See what happened here. So let's see here. Middle Georgia had 3 runs in the first inning, and then Valdosta State piled on the offense in the bottom of the second inning. 5 runs in the second inning. It was, and of course, Jamie Prandine 3-run homer. Prandine with the 3-run homer, and then Bunsey had a single to right field, which brought home 2 runs. So
a leadoff triple in the second.
So. Oh no! There's a leadoff home run. Oh, Prandine with the home run, the 3-run blast.
Wow!
I can always count Jamie Prandine to bring on the power. And she had a double to center that brought home a run in the 7th, and then the walk. And then much like I always said, Spring Hill won on a walk off in the 6th inning on a fielder's choice. Guess who also won off a fielder's choice?
Good Lord!
Valdosta State did.
Yep.
As Cook reached home plate on a fielder's choice to the short side, which brought home a run, which brought Valid home to win 8-7 over Middle Georgia. So again, as we said before, with this baseball team, start of the season can go rough.
Yeah,
start of the season can be rough, but I mean, it is the start of the season.
Yeah,
it is only starting.
He's got the rest of the time to go.
Yeah.
The bad thing about this softball team, they start off the season on the road, and they don't have a home game until the end of this month in February.
Mm-hmm. February 28th is their first home game.
Ooh, the last day in February.
So actually, as I mentioned at the top of this episode about that new scoreboard that softball has, you won't be able to get to see until the end of February. Yep. Sorry about it. Whoops, I completely forgot to mention that. But going a little bit more here, I'm looking at the stats here. Adriana Portanova, the leading batter, she's hitting .333 so far, hitting, I believe that is a 666 OPS so far. But a player who's really stepped up in that OPS department, Sailor McNerney. She's only batting .286. She's got a 946 OPS through her first couple games. And McNerney, 4th-year veteran, she's got speed. That's one of the most important things she has. McNerney has speed on her, and apparently also had a little bit of power as well. She hit a home run in these first couple games.
That's what I was just getting switched up with in the other girl.
Gotcha. Yeah, and she's slugging .571 as well through 4 games. Now again, it's only 4 games. It is only 4 games, but you know what? Again, the numbers don't really lie. She's on base 37% of the time as well. So McNerney is always going to be a constant threat
for sure.
In any game she's playing. So softball, once again, they're about to start a 2-game series against the University of North Georgia. Then they'll go to the Old Coast Classic to face off against a bunch of Florida teams, plus one Shawan for some reason down in St. Augustine. They'll face Flagler, St. Leo, Shawan, and St. Leo again. I remember we said this during the last episode. I don't know what on earth is going on with this scheduling, why we face St. Leo twice.
Yeah.
But okay, fine, whatever. First conference series will be against the Trojans of Trevecca Nazarene on February 21st and 22nd.
I'm trying to see when they postponed those 2 games that were supposed to be played in Gulf Shores this past weekend. There was 2 games that were supposed to be played Saturday, but they were both postponed for the softball.
I think that was played just yesterday on Sunday.
Okay.
That Northeastern State and Middle Georgia game.
I got you.
I think those are both of those games.
Okay.
So with that being said, that kind of wraps up our major Blazer athletics, our Blazer sports that we want to talk about. Again, I'm actually reading the time here. We are reading an hour and 13. Yeah, I told you this is going to be a packed episode. So just one more thing. So there's one more thing I want to add on here is we just most recently had the 2026 Blazer Hall of Fame induction class, which included some great Blazer athletes, some first timers, particularly from women's soccer, making their way onto the Hall of Fame. So the question I want to pose here, and I also lead this up to the comments as well, with the Hall of Fame induction ceremony most recently happening, which current or recent Blazer teams, athletes, or coaches do you think have a shot to be inducted into the VSU Hall of Fame sometime in the future? Now, I'm not saying surefire, but what players, coaches, or teams do you think have a shot to be inducted into the Blazer Hall of Fame? I'll go ahead and give 2 examples. I'll go ahead and give 2, and these are going to kind of be low hanging fruit, but the 2012 softball team, 2012 softball team, national championship, and Coach Helfer.
Yeah.
Coach
Yes.
Honestly, I really got to give it to Coach. Honestly, I really got to give it to Coach Helfer. Man's been here for 21 years. He's been here as long as the 3 of us here have been alive.
Yeah.
He's been here at VSU about as long as we have all been here alive on this planet. He's been coaching longer than we've been alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he's brought so much success here to Valdosta State. Multiple several GSC tournament appearances, several championship appearances, a GSC title, couple NCAA tournament appearances. He's just been so stable. He's just been a staple of Valdosta State basketball that honestly, as much as I really don't want to think about this, it's hard. It's honestly going to be hard for me to imagine Coach Helfer not coaching Valdosta State.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's how much he's meant to this team and this community. So those are my top 2. Those are my top 2 picks. Actually, another one that I really want to talk about, who I think has a shot, Kaya Baker of VSU volleyball.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I say this because of her senior season. Now, we've had several athletes who've made it to the VSU Hall of Fame after maybe like 1 or 2 years. Reason why, and that's partly why I think Kaya Baker has a shot at it, because in her senior season, if I'm remembering correctly, she posted over 1,500 digs in her career. In her career, she made over 1,500 digs. In her senior season. She was a defensive anchor for this team. I believe she was a second year Blazer to take this Valdosta State volleyball team to 2 of their best seasons in recent history, 2 back-to-back 19-win seasons, with Baker being that libero, that solid defensive force back there. Again, she recorded a team high 450 digs in her junior year. She also played at Eastern Arizona College. So in her 2 years here, she recorded 642 digs. Wow. Just at VSU, eclipsed the 1,500 mark.
Wow.
For one of the best VSU volleyball teams we've had in recent memory. So honestly, an average 5.3 digs per set, which was, I believe, top 15 in Division II for a while. So while that team didn't exactly go anywhere like major to like the NCAA tournament, I really do think Baker has a shot has at least a shot to be considered for the VSU Hall of Fame. What are your guys' picks? So I said Coach Helfer, the 2012 softball team, and Kaya Baker.
Man, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw it out there. We talked about it a little bit before, but I don't know if this is going to be parameters for, Hall of Fame.
Right.
But Bo Justice, man.
Bo Justice. I could honestly see that.
I'm sitting here looking at his career statistics, and it's just nuts, man. And dude's averaging 41 from the 3-point. That's his entire 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's his entire 41 from the 3-point, 88 from the free throw line, and wait, I can't find it. 48% from the field in total.
48%.
Buddy was a walking bucket.
Literally,
not to mention, over his 3 years, scored 1,700 points.
17, dude.
I'm telling you, man. And I want to say, don't hear. So this is 2016 to 2019. I'm pretty sure when I looked at the archived statistics, they won the GSC all 3 years that he was here.
Let me see. They won it in 2021.
2021?
Yeah, 2021. It was
regular season champion.
Yeah, regular season champion.
Okay.
The tournament champion.
Not the tournament, sorry.
Yeah, the tournament champion. VSU last won it in 2021, where Burke Putnam was the tournament most valuable player. But let me see if I can scroll through here to see all the GSC honors that Bo Justice,
and you can just see it in their record. I mean, you go from 2015 to 2016 season, they're 17-11. Then Bo Justice arrives, and now they finish the season 26-6 overall, 18-3 in conference, and then the next season they finish 26-5 overall, 18-2 in the conference.
Right. And as I mentioned before about the all GSC teams, Bo Justice back-to-back first team all GSC in 2017 and 2018, the 2017-18 season and the 18-19 season, back-to-back first team all GSC. Which by the way, speaking of all first team GSC players, VSU was actually on a streak for all first team GSC players. And also, if we're going to talk about Bo Justice, I think Blake Justice might need to be considered as well. First team all GSC 2015-16, but from that 2015-16 season all the way until the 2020-21 season, VSU has had a first team all GSC player.
Wow.
And actually it was actually last season, Carlos Hart. He was the last first team all GSC player. Before that, it was the 2020-21 season. And if I'm correct, Bo Justice might have also been an All-American as well. Yes.
I think he was.
NABC All-American 2017-18.
Guy was a walking bucket, man. A magician with a basketball.
NABC All-District. He was NABC All-District. And also the same year, Justice was named to first team NABC All-District. So the Southeast, this entire Southeast area, that was the same year Coach Helfer won District Coach of the Year. Same year he won District Coach of the Year. So, man, yeah, I think Bo Justice absolutely. I think he's absolutely worth a shot of.
Yeah, he deserves at least contention. I mean, just think about it, And
he was a D2 CCA All-American as well.
Yeah, I mean,
come on now.
What do you want from a guy? What do you want from a guy to give a basketball program? You know what I mean? What else he asked for?
I agree with that entirely. Dionte, what's your picks?
I'm gonna go more recent. I'm gonna show women's basketball some love. The 2023-2024 women's basketball team,
30-3 team.
Yes,
honestly, GSC champion, GSC regular season and tournament champion. Even though they didn't win the national title, dude, that team was not just like. I don't want to say historically, but what's the best word? I guess I could say like culturally significant. It really revitalized. I think that team really revitalized interest in Valdosta State women's basketball. This team's been around for 50 years. This team's been around for 50 years, and they just put on one of their best seasons since a time back in the 80s. Since a time back in the 80s, 30-3. That reignited so much interest in this area. That players want to come here and be part of this everlasting history.
Yeah,
that Lady Blazer basketball is
23-1 in the conference.
23-1 in conference,
and their only loss was against Lee, and they lost by 6.
Yeah, Like, dude, that team was such a wagon. It's a little hard for me to remember who was all on that team, but especially that Super Tuesday game against West Georgia is without a doubt top 10 VSU sports moments I've ever been a part of. And actually, as I pulled up the roster here, Tamaya Francis, Emma Martin, India Jordan, Victoria Ignacio, JC Justice, the sister of Blake and Bo Justice on this Lady Blazer team, Lily Long, Taylor Searcy. Searcy's now playing at Alaska Anchorage at Division I. Tyzer Reed, Aaron Whalen. That was her freshman year.
Wow.
That was Whalen's freshman year. And look at what she's doing now. Courtney Stoddard, Alicia Curry, Khalifa Ford, who's now at UT Chattanooga. And under Deandra Shermer with Alexis Uffman, Madison Lowry, Lauren Ramsey. This team, I can agree with you there. I think they seriously need to be considered for the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
That was a special team. That was an incredible special team. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Definitely a lot for Hall of Fame team. The 2018 national championship team for VSU.
2018 football team.
I was going to ask if y'all are going to throw any of those in there.
Yeah. One more. If we're going to talk about recent, the tennis teams, men's tennis.
Oh yeah,
men's tennis definitely. Yeah. We'll be back around here in 2035 when they we'll be back around here in 2035, 2036 when they announce that those tennis teams are being inducted because back-to-back national titles. Come on now. That's also got to be in the GSC Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah,
I think that's got to go in the Conference Hall of Fame. Back-to-back titles for the Gulf South Conference.
Oh yeah, for sure,
without a doubt. There.
So if they don't, they're just hating at that point.
Yeah, they are. No. They're already on some BS by not putting VSU number 1 in the ITA rankings.
Yeah.
I know Sawyer's losing his mind over that.
Oh yeah.
So that being said, that's how we're going to wrap things up here. We hope you guys, first of all, if you guys stuck with us the entire way through this episode, we sincerely appreciate it. It's just the three of us here. It's just the three of us here right now. We had a lot to cover with this episode. This was originally only going to be like a 45-minute episode because I didn't think we'd have that much. And then I found out tennis was playing, and then all the stuff at Rapid Fire, and then baseball and softball, and then men's and women's basketball. They won against West Florida. So there was more to talk about there.
But we love to yap about VSU sports. That's all.
Hey, we're crazy for it. That's why we do this. We're crazy about Blazer athletics. That's why we do this. So with that being said, that's how we're going to wrap up this episode. For one thing, be sure to tune in on Sunday, February 8th at around 6 p.m. Eastern time, as we will be going live for the 3rd annual Super Bowl Shenanigans live stream coming out of Dionte's Centennial Hall apartment. We're going to be going live, breaking down, giving live play-by-play reactions to Super Bowl 60 between the Seahawks and the Patriots, a rematch of Super Bowl 49.
Go Seahawks, please. I don't want the Patriots. I don't want the Patriots.
So if you want to tune in to a really fun live stream full of shenanigans, as I very aptly call it, be sure to tune in on YouTube. It will only be available on YouTube for the live stream on Sunday, February 8th at 6 p.m. So again, episodes are all available this semester on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, and Audacity, with a full archive available on our website. If you go to sites.google.com/view/The Inferno Podcast, also be sure to follow us on Instagram as well at The Inferno Podcast, and stay tuned throughout the season for extra members. I've got several planned with several different figures in the VSU athletics department, a couple coaches that I want to bring on to do some Blazer profiles with. So for Austin, Dionte, and Ansley, who is not here, but she's here in spirit, and for myself, Jaylan Scott, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Inferno, a Valdosta State sports show. And as always, if you can't take the heat, what makes you think you can survive the Inferno? And hey, Craig, say something to the people.
Bye, Felicia.